All right, so today I'm going to talk about quantum mechanics and the double split experiment and how it affects us. And first, in order to move forward, I'm going to play a small video describing what the quantum theory is. Here we go.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So when we throw things, that is matter, through two slits, we get this. Two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
So the implications of this are substantial, because that means that we are now discovering that our interaction with the universe works much differently than we thought before, and that what we're told traditionally in school in Platonic physics. So we have quantum physics stating that the act of measuring or observing something fundamentally changes that thing on a molecular level. But we also have physics, the branch that quantum physics was derived from, saying that you have to measure or observe something in order to define it. So now we have a contradiction, right? So we have physics saying that you have to measure and observe something in a repeatable manner in a controlled substance, in a controlled lab, to say that we can define how things work. And then we're saying that quantum physics says that just observing and measuring itself is changing the way that things work on a fundamental basis. So it's kind of like saying, you know, you open a refrigerator door and every time you open the refrigerator door, the light is on. So that's like saying the light is always on, right? Because you're not taking into account what's happening when you're not observing or measuring what's going on. So what science claims to define laws of nature, but in fact only defines the way we perceive nature, not how nature works in reality, in objective reality, without humans observing. So computers have a limit to their capabilities and thus can only render out images onto your screen as fast as the computer's limits. So our reality has a speed at which we can propagate light. Light isn't like an actual fundamental speed, like we define it as a constant, but it's not a constant. It's a rate of propagation that actually changes and fluctuates like a wave does. And quantum physics is poised that things that aren't observed by someone are just a wave of potentials, a lot like code, until realized by perception. So we're actually finding out through the quantum theories and through the double slit experiment that we're more like a virtual reality than we were ever aware of before, right? We are more in control of things that we interact with. You know, the fact that we observe and measure something fundamentally changes how it is, shows that we fundamentally don't know how we interact with our universe. A physicist at the University of Bonn, Germany, wrote a paper saying that we are pretty much like in a matrix world, a virtual reality world that works a lot like a video game. You know, in a video game, when you're not looking at something, it hasn't rendered in through the video card and hasn't rendered in onto your screen. So it's actually just a code of potential in the background until realized. And once you move your point of view, your point of reference towards that thing, then it propagates into a reality physical object. The biggest lie told to humankind is that our thoughts, emotions, feelings are bound within us, that we don't affect things outside of our body with our thoughts and our emotions. Well, obviously that's a lie. You can go into a room and feel the tension, or you can feel the happiness or joy or love. You can feel things that, you know, there's auras. There are really things about people, situations, symbols, vibrational frequencies, words. You know, we all have these powers that we're not aware of. And we're told that, you know, we don't even have effect on the outside world with our emotions and by observing things. But that very act actually does affect things, as we can see through the double split experiment. You know, scopisthesia is the phenomenon of feeling someone else's gaze at your flank. A spidey sense is a phenomenon of sensing danger with no physical or logical conclusion as to how. Twin telepathy are biological twins who can sense each other when they're in danger. Studies have shown that praying for hospital patients improves their recovery even if the recipient is unaware of the prayer. Now, whether that's a religious god or whatever, or, you know, a subconscious wavelength that's affecting other people, I'm not here to debate that, but the fact that we can affect other people through our thoughts, emotions, and feelings is actually very important for us awakening as a people. Nothing a person has ever created wasn't to some extent thought about beforehand. Thought is the driving force behind all actions. Your reality is literally comprised of the results of thoughts and reasoning through the senses. Thoughts and ideas are what becomes reality. You think about thoughts, thoughts create reality and perception. In essence, thoughts are the most powerful thing in the universe. Reality turns into perception, which turns into thought. Thoughts turn into actions, which turn into reality. The most powerful link in this cycle is you and your intentions within it. You get to create your own reality. And people don't realize this, and they stifle themselves, and their society and media oppress people, and the education in the left side of the brain. We aren't taught creativity in our own lives, right? We're not taught to look with our actual eyes and our actual senses. We're taught to be stuck in a left brain mentality. So that brings me into the law of attraction, another law that is not recognized by mainstream science, but we know factually that putting yourself on a vibrational frequency will lead to results. And we know this because, we know this because people do sports training like visualization, right? So visualization of successfully doing something is just as important as doing physical training. And we know that through major sports psychiatrists and therapists who, we can see results in visualization. And that goes along with the law of attraction. Things seem like they're solid, but they're really not. They are vibrational waves and frequencies that are magnetically coerced together in such a way that it feels and looks dense to us as people, but that's not really the case. If you go down far enough, you'll see that everything is in motion at all times, and that we all are vibrational frequency beings, and everything we interact with are also vibrational frequencies. The brainwave entertainment, just like solids, energies, and waves and potentials can equally be described as frequency. These frequencies are unique to each other and contain their own properties. Every thought, every feeling, every action, every symbol, they all have their own vibrational frequency, and they can also be expressed in terms of color or musical tone, and that's what they use to oppress us with things like changing our vibrational tones of the scales of music that we use, like a C and a C minor and a C major. These are all tuned to certain vibrational frequencies that are meant to oppress us. We already talked about the guided visualization in sports, very important. Let's see. The biggest hurdle to overcoming achieving one's goals through the law of attraction is not wanting something, but truly believing you already have it. Wanting something doesn't change your frequency to that of having it. Only truly believing you already have it is what will change your frequency. This is a big part of meditation. It is clearing your mind of these wants and desires that leave you in a frequency of ironically not having the result of these things. So when you want money, it leaves you in a vibrational frequency of wanting money, not having money. You need to believe you are on a vibrational frequency in order for the law of attraction to work and give that to you. So you have to really, truly believe, and that's why guided visualization is so important. It helps you meditate with yourself and get yourself clear of all these, desires and wants that leave us in the vibrational frequency of wanting and desiring, but not having, right? And we can see less than 1% of the electromagnetic field and less than 1% of the sound spectrum. We can interact with less than 1% of the overall universe. So there are factually many things out there that we cannot interact with. We cannot see, we cannot smell, we cannot taste. I mean, this is evident through how do you think Wi-Fi works, or 4G or 5G, or these wireless things that we can't interact with directly, but we know are there and working? There's so much more to that than we are ever led to believe. The ultimate metaphysical secret is, if we dare to state it so simply, is that there are no boundaries in the universe. Boundaries are illusions, products not of reality, but of the way we map and edit reality. And while it is fine to map out the territory, it is fatal to confuse the two. So it's these mental prisons that we put ourselves into, saying that we can't do these things, or we aren't able to do these things because this, because that, because this. Once you truly believe that you have the power, you give yourself that power. It's people saying, I don't and I can't, that's holding us back from being able to do these powerful things. Emotion is energy in motion. So your emotion is on the light spectrum, and it actually does correlate with other things in the universe. When you put yourself in a situation where you are feeling happiness and you are willing yourself onto a happy vibrational frequency, you will bring not only happiness to yourself, but everyone around you. Because vibrational frequencies they spread, they propagate, right? Emotions can be expressed as energy in motion. Energy in motion can be in turn described as a wave function that expresses a certain wavelength frequency. Thus, every emotion has its own frequency. The way you feel, the way you think, the words you choose to put in your head, just the very positive or negative connotations of words that you think about in your head about yourself and about others really confines the way that you can be. When you label something, you negate it. You negate its ability to be something else, right? And these are waves and how they work together. On the outsides, you'll see that waves stack up together. These are different kinds of interferences, and then the ones in the middle they negate each other out. So when you have two people that feed off of the same emotional energy, it's twice as strong. And that's why we need to come together and bring emotional status with each other. Waves and frequencies are constantly changing and being affected by other frequencies that either constructively or destructively combine, and that's what I was just talking about. Tones can destroy as well as heal. So we're going to talk about the sound waves and the kind of frequencies that they put in mainstream music. The normal healthy human body resonates at a frequency range of 62 to 72 hertz, though most humans today are in the 62 to 68 hertz range. Ultra high and ultra low frequencies are dangerous to humans, and that's why we know that millimeter wavelengths are dangerous to people, and that's why they're used in the military. Exposure to these frequencies have common side effects like disrupted sleep, headaches, induced stress, raised blood pressure, dizziness, annoyance, fatigue, tinnitus, heart palpitations, all these horrible things. And we know that this is EMF sickness. These 4G and 5G towers and Bluetooth and all these things and smart meters that we surround ourselves with, it's constantly poisoning us with these lower vibrational frequencies that really have a negative effect on human beings. We could easily have tuned those to a vibrational frequency that helps human beings, but they intentionally put them in a wavelength that suppresses human beings. Even Nikola Tesla, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. The universe doesn't speak English, it speaks frequency. And I got a cool little video showing what cymatics is. Cymatics is the study of how sound affects physical matter. And it's a really cool video, I'll show you.
If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter.
So if you're using a tone that is close to but not quite the camera's frame rate, the spiral appears to move backwards and forward.
And that's what's happening in the video when the spiral appears to suck up into the hose.
So now we know that somatics is the study of how vibrational frequencies and sound affect physical matter. You know, what are we if we're not physical matter? So obviously, vibrational frequencies and tones affect the human body and mind and the emotional state that we're in. One particular tone that helps heal human body is 528 hertz, something that you won't really see in 4G, 3G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, smart meters, anything like that. You won't find any healing tones in what's modernly used in modern equipment. Every human cell has and is responsive to frequency and vibration. The healing frequency of 528 hertz has been researched and explored by genetic biochemists that are currently using it in labs to repair DNA that has been damaged. 528 hertz is literally, that pattern is literally found inside the human DNA and all green matter and plants. Each tone can be represented by a frequency, and because every color also has its own frequency, each tone can be represented by a color. Our modern day chromatic scale comes from the Greek chroma, meaning color. The modern chromatic 12-note scale is the notes of all the colors. So we actually make music through colors in a more complex sense. The ancient Solfeggio tones only focus on positive and healing frequencies. They actually match up with sacred geometry and, you know, triangle, circle, square, hexagram. They match up with those, the tones actually match up with sacred geometry itself. We modernly have changed the tones to not match, you know, like 528 hertz and 432 hertz and all these other hertz that we know help human beings. Another very important frequency is the solar tone of the sun, 126.22 hertz. It helps open up the Manipura chakra. That helps with clearing the mind. It helps with clearing your conscience and, you know, your soul and all your free thinking. People who have their tones suppressed have a harder time putting together and holding thought. You have racing thoughts. You lose your thoughts. You don't get to hold on to your own thoughts for very long because we're not in sync with these tones anymore. This is a scale showing how much we are a water, right? So we know that, you know, babies are most susceptible to things like EMFs, vibrational frequencies, and we target them while they're young. We have infants, you know, basically kids nowadays are born with tablets in their hand. Cymatics, gravity 2 is also a wave with different frequencies. Unlike the conventional thinking of gravity as a straight line of attraction between two objects, they're actually waves. So even gravity itself, light itself, all these things that we consider constants are actually in nature working like waves. Every single chakra has its own vibrational frequency and own tone, and that's what we work on with stuff like meditation and self-healing and tone reparation is through the sacred chakras and going through the sacred geometry of the body, right? Even the Lord's Prayer itself can be broken down into different chants, right? The original Lord's Prayer was a meditative chant that got everybody into certain Gregorian chants that would heal the body and heal the soul in certain ways. Just like space-time are interconnected, so too are electromagnetism. All electrical charges are magnetic and all magnetic charges are electrical. Your heart functions from electrical waves searching through your heart, causing contractions. The EKG machines test this electrical impulse. The resting heart rate of an average adult is between 1 and 2 hertz. The brainwave frequency is between 0.1 hertz and up to 30 or over hertz. And the human eyeball resonates at 19 hertz. The way we figured out that the human eyeball resonates at 19 hertz is that we were playing sound tones, or scientists, well, I shouldn't say we, I didn't. They played sound tones that Once they hit 19 hertz and they turned it up, everybody in the room actually lost their sight. Everybody went blind. And then they turned it off and you could see again. It matched the vibrational frequency of the eyeball. It's like how a singer can break glass. They match the vibrational frequency of the glass, making it shatter, right? So we could do that with eyes. We can do that with thoughts, emotions, the feeling. You can make people's skin feel like it's on fire. That's how the military fights people, the public, with vibrational frequencies. You know, they can actually send millimeter wavelength at people and scatter crowds, make them lose their thought, vomit, lose their consciousness even.
Yeah, we've been a comedy rock band for close to 40 years now, and all that time we've never had a hit. And
Yeah, but you guys know why.
Why?
Because we never wrote a 4-chord song.
What's that? What's a 4-chord song, Benny?
Well, if you want all the greatest hits from the past 40 years, just use 4 chords. Same 4 chords for every song. It's dead simple to write a pop hit.
Just 4?
Yeah, these 4. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4 chords.
Sorry, let me
That's all
get
you
this
need to
straight,
write a-
Chicken Little. What you're trying to say is you can take those 4 chords, repeat them, and pump out every pop song ever. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off, Chicken Little.
Just listen. Do you recognise this?
Yeah, that is Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
It's a great song.
Very
There's
original
a few more that
song.
fit. Check it out. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure.
Well, that's just 2 songs that are similar. That's not a big deal.
Forever young.
3 songs.
I wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. This is the way you left me. I'm not pretending. No love, no hope, no glory, no happy ending. 'Cause you were amazing. We did amazing things. If I could, then I would. I'd go wherever you will go. Feel the love tonight, and she will be loved. Yeah, she will be loved. Pictures of you, pictures of me, hung upon your wall for the world to see. 'Cause I can't live with or without you. Whenever I fall at your feet, you let your tears.
Am I not pretty enough? Is my heart too broken?
Double time?
Double time.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner.
That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. We'll go riding on the horses, yeah. No woman, no crime.
There surely is a dream.
I come from a land down under.
Once a jolly swagman kept by a billabong. Take on me,
When I come around,
take me on.
when I come around.
I'll be gone when you're Save tonight.
Gonna take a lot to drag me away
Break
from
up
you.
your crown.
There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
All right, well, the point is that every top 40 song that has been produced the last 50 years has only used 4 chords, the same 4 chords as produced by these guys and shown by these guys here. That you can make any pop song out of those 4 chords, and these 4 chords are very lower vibrational frequency, very oppressive, very predatory on people and their way of thinking and the way that they interact with the world. The problem is that people pride themselves on their music taste and these lower vibrational frequency songs, and it's on all over the radio and in TV, and all these the top 40 Billboard songs are just shoved down our throats. We don't really have much option as far as or many options as far as what kind of music we want to listen to, because they're all made by those same chromatic scales that we've been talking about.
Man, rap today fucking sucks bad. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. These fools ain't spitting no type of dope shit. But that's not even the bad part. They're not even saying words anymore. They just got a hard-ass fucking beat to trick dumbasses like you to make you think you like the shit. Play that fucking beat. We got some real fucking mentally retarded rappers in the game. I know for a fact nobody know what the fuck these dudes be saying. Wait, turn my reverb and my auto-tune on real quick. This what the fuck they be doing. Yeah, yeah, shout out that money. I put it on money, I beat it with niggas, I beat it with $10 my dollar. I roll in the city, my nigga, you coming? Give me this shit on my mama. Drumming them niggas, I'm getting the money, I got it to put it, I'm doing my dollar. I tell you niggas, I'm baby, this damn if I tell you I love you. Tell me you baby, I tell me that's what I say if I love you. I don't care what you baby, my niggas are coming to pay me. I went to the doctor, he looked at my dick and he said I got rabies. I'm down to niggas trying to fit I know. She trying to tell a nigga big I know. Mama daddy tell the corner send a big I know. They got a big I know. I know the big I know.
So this is the kind of music that we've been listening to as a society and a community. Like, this is the kind of music that plays on the radio. This is the kind of music I see people that I would consider like woke and intelligent and actually sentient beings that actually care about themselves, and then they go and listen to lower vibrational music that puts them into horrible states of mind and frequency and thinking. It's really oppressive, and people don't even realize it. They get all pumped up for their music and their song, like, yeah, that's my song, let's dance in the clubs, and they don't realize that that's all lower vibrational frequencies. These are oppressive, predatory tones put in music intentionally to keep us down. And once we realize that we are actually more powerful than we've been led to believe through, vibrational frequencies and our interaction with the world through our knowledge of, the quantum slit and things like that. It was apparent that materialism was in complete control of the economic structure, the final objective of which was for the individual to become part of the system, providing an economic security at the expense of the human soul, mind, and body. These people, they intentionally put themselves in a vibrational frequency, and then they drag other people with them. It spreads, it propagates. It doesn't start with just you and how you feel about it. It's the people that you bring into that vibrational frequency too. We as a society are going downhill. Your mind can control matter. This is something that physicists and scientists have been saying for a while. The quantum slit experiment is not new. This is old stuff, right? We've known about this for a while, but this has been oppressed, and this isn't something that they teach in schools for a reason. I just wanted to end with, we are all more powerful than we think we are, because the limits that we give ourselves is really the only limit that we have as sentient, conscious beings, right? The thing that keeps you from moving up in vibrational frequency is your limit, the bars that you, in your own mind, give yourself. Everyone here deserves better and can be better and is better than they realize. All right, thank you.